mother tried to choke my brother and ostensibly her to death. You know, and you see how her physical body, kind of went from being very thin body type, and then all of a sudden turned into like very big boned. She works in the health industry, and I lived with her for 3 years. The woman does not fucking exercise. She doesn't know the meaning of the term, right? Walk somewhere? Like, why would you do that? She's very typical American. Right? Why would you walk anywhere? And she's surrounded by rapists. You know, one of our chief students told me he was a rapist. Totally fucking told me. He had to talk to another client because one of her other teachers sexually assaulted her. And I could listen to Felicity on the phone as she was kind of soothing her at the heart level, making it about her and making it positive, making it about her and making it positive, diverting her attention. You watch police do this too, and they know which way they want to take the narrative. And Felicity was just taking the narrative. It didn't matter, what had happened or, who had given who bruises or anything. It was just like, and also kind of like massaging her away. And she did the same thing to me, massaged me away with her heart and her heart chakra. And Dr. John uses his heart chakra too, and he just gives you that lovely pink energy. It's okay. One of these rapists came into the house, and I had drawn a boundary for him. So of course he came in and sexually assaulted me in front of Felicity, and then she took me to one side. I was actually crying because like he got into my heart chakra, and then she connected to my heart chakra and said, "Oh, it's okay," and she just fucking watches this shit happen. It's like she just goes on with her day like it's nothing. I mean, this is what she's been marinating in her entire life. It's incredible. Like, somebody has to tell the story. Like, it's fun. At first I thought, oh, the Maharishi and like meditation, it's all really cool. And then this other side to it, this incredible narcissism, this incredible capacity to manage information, to regulate behavior, and the unvarying types of personalities that join these schools, and the violence that happened to me in front of them. And you could tell, like electricity, they all took their compatible coding. As soon as any violence went off like a charge, everyone kind of went into the same state. Everyone in the room, all of the instructors, like I was always getting sexually assaulted, so a man sexually assaulted me, I'm sitting there, and everyone in the room, the instructor, and I'm looking around, and my mind just kind of went in slightly into like a different time length, and I could see all of their bodies changing. Like I was meant to see it. I could see all their body, their physiology changing. They all just kind of stiffened up, and he actually became emboldened. Felicity became emboldened. Everyone just sort of stiffened up, and you could see like this was part of what they lived for. So that's why a lot of these organizations attract sexually violent people, because in some sense they've learned in order to survive to live off that energy, but they don't know what they're doing. So when it's around them, it just kind of puffs them up. So they don't mind being around it, and they get alert, and they don't even notice what's happening at that point, right? And so this is what Dr. Zhang is helping to condition, right? And then you have to ask yourself, like, what kind of world do we live in that this is what's going on? So, she actually, after she had raped me and after I'd gone through many other orders of sexual assault and I was leaving the island, we were with some people and they asked me, why are you leaving? And Felicity actually answered the question for me. She actually put words in my mouth. She started talking for me. I never even opened my lips. It's one of those moments where I just thought, you know what, I'm just not going to say anything. And these people were both repugnant human beings. One of them was the rapist I talked about, and they both called themselves my friends, right? And I'm sure they believed they were. It's just that you may notice if you grow up around sexually predatory people, their idea of anything is kind of like a funhouse mirror. It's true as far as it goes, but it can very quickly, with a little shake of the wrist, become something completely different than what you thought it was. A little change of the light through the forest, and it's just like, very different person on your hands, and it's like, it's your fault, you believe me. They just change perspectives, and Felicity certainly changed a lot. It wasn't all love and roses at the end, but she tries. And a lot of what these types of people do is they tend to they hear bits of my story, like I tell them something violent about my life, they're always talking about healing, so I figure, I'll tell them about what happened to me. And they always say they've heard enough of it, and they always presume to know that the only thing worth talking about when they talk to me is that all these is that I have an incredible need for what they or their friends have to offer. So basically, that's they slot me into you're one of the needful ones, and we supply what you need, and I'm your friend, and all's well. And they don't want to hear you talk about anything else, and they don't care about anything else, and they still think they're being a friend. They still think this is loving, right? And they kind of hang on to this, but also like she was also kind of like, and I was getting rid of her slowly, and it took a while. Right? When I left Salt Spring, I actually took all of her things. She asked me, or I offered, to take all of her things and store them for her. Just because our lives had kind of two parallel dimensions. There's the dimension where I wanted to get her out of my life, and the part of me that kind of felt, for my own safety, it was better to go along with the friendship and take your time. I don't know why, but I did. And actually, I was glad I did, because my throat's getting sore. The day that I had paid for the truck that came, and I had spent 3 weeks cleaning what was her cabin before she moved out a little while ago, and packing her stuff up, which was still in there. And the truck came, which I organized at considerable expense, my time, my peace of mind. Got the truck there because she had all this furniture to take to my mother's house, whom I only just started talking to again, like a few weeks earlier. And my dad, who I hadn't seen or talked to for 15 years, was there. And Felicity showed up. And and a few days earlier, she had seen me again, verbally, violently assaulted by one of her students. A month or so after telling me that anger wasn't allowed in her school, and seeing a present while a 3-year-old was being sexually assaulted at the same time. And I'd never heard her a sign of complaint or criticism about anyone but me. And my father shows up, and he's 75 years old, and he has an injury on one of his knees. And she comes up to me and says, "I notice your father's not doing any work." And she herself has not done a single fucking thing. And you see the hatred, the utter hatred for men. And that's the lesbianism right there. Right? For my father, who I haven't even seen for 15 years. And he and my mom are putting all of her shit in their garage and keeping it. And so I thought, well, I've learned something. And I kept it there, and it turned out my mom had to give up the house. Another story. Much of it because of her problems. And I just called Felicity and said, you need to come get your stuff. She assumed it was a problem. It wasn't, but I did want it to go. And sure enough, a couple of her fellow disciples came and picked it up. Never said thank you, never conveyed a positive message, just quietly took it and left. I was now outside the circle of love. About these wonderful people. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'd arranged all this, by the way, while living on welfare, while living on disability. I'm just good with money. And part of that was just, I was convinced that Felicity was part of something great, and I wanted to serve her. And that's how I approach relationships with lesbians. It's how it allows me to be around them. I just see myself as like, what do you want me to do? And in return, they rape me. Wow. It's got a really negative energy. That's all I was thinking. Something's happening in my throat. Wow. It's amazing talking about these things and my throat. I think that Felicity is part of some very bad energy on this earth. she thinks she's part of the best thing on in eternity, and I think it's some of the most evil on this planet. And it's part of this thing that people do to get to survive. You know, it may come down to the greatest problem in the human mind is what people are doing to survive. And Arthur Janoff really got into this idea. You know, how do you change, say, criminal type behavior if it's something that actually comes from trauma that has now bred compulsions or needs of an order of survival next to breathing itself. It literally is how they need to live. The person of Felicity wasn't there for me to get to know. Like, she told me enough about her history that it was really all about just getting the pain away and being a good disciple. You know, letting it out, but not spending too much dwelling on anything. And you've got people in your school that are assaulting people, that are sexually assaulting people, that are raping people, like, you know, and it makes such promises in human development and love and purity. And of course, no one ever takes any responsibility for anything. Lines are never drawn properly, you know. And it attracts people who, you know, have suffered from living in an environment where the lines weren't properly drawn in their favor. Now have become people who suffer from an inability to draw appropriate lines for themselves, and yet consider themselves by that same measure qualified to police other people's. You know, I had one lady attack me, for instance, and I knew she would. She was a lesbian. The first time I met her, I knew she was going to attack me. You just know. I've seen predators, you know, in the park, and men, you know, like just they're lesbianic, but they'll look at you, and you just know they're going to do something, right? And it was weeks later, and it was just because I didn't say hello loud enough one day when she came to the school, Qigong school. Right? When I would come to the Qigong school, I was often very contemplative. It was a very peaceful place, and I really liked to soak it in. You know, I was really enjoying myself. But Rosalie was one of these people that she needed someone to give her a special amount of attention, particularly a man, and particularly me. And she grew increasingly infuriated that I didn't. But quite frankly, I just didn't think of it. I mean, it's one of those things, like, you just assume, like, you know, why does this person assume such a familiarity right away? They don't go through any of the intermediary steps to bring about a familiarity with you. They just assume, like, as soon as I met her, I was supposed to, like, treat her a certain way. Like, I don't work for the company. Like, what do you mean? I'm not the ambassador of goodwill. But anyway, she eventually got quite violent. Physically violent. Yeah. Physically violent in front of other students. And they just completely, again, these males, because they're castrated, they immediately took her side. Even though they didn't know what was happening, they just assumed I'd done something wrong. Right? And Rosalie wasn't happy. She was never satisfied. And because of their mentality, she could never believe I wasn't going to do anything in return. I think she was absolutely shocked that I didn't, because, I mean, what was there to do? I talked to Felicity. She told me to shut up about it. She didn't care. Right? And it almost happened right in front of her. There are other times things did happen right in front of her. She didn't care. There were no real lines to be drawn there. You know, if she did, she was just placating me or humoring me. And this started from the very earliest on when I met her. And the first time she had sex with me, the day after, she accused me of raping a couple young friends of mine. And then it just got worse from there. And then she was shocked that I didn't want to be her boyfriend. They're always like this. It's just like, and I didn't get mad. I didn't accuse her. I just said, you know, maybe this isn't for the best. You know, I mean, clearly had serious sexual problems. You know, crazy. She's sexually insane. She's, you know, this woman who's pleasantly, you know, acquainted with the realm of Chinese medicine and spirituality and healing. She's very proud of what she does. Yeah, there's that energy. That's the evil I was that in the heart? You can just feel that. Thoroughly acquainted with these worlds. Very proud of what she does. And it, however, has not come without a price. Yeah, that's a scary energy. Just take a breath. That's violent energy out there. That fucking man-woman thing that's been out there for a while. I think that might be approaching this way. It's like a man-woman thing. It or she has just been walking around it for a while. I think it or she looks like an 8-bit. Try not to take it personally, but it's very ugly. And it's just been, you just see these things. I had one the other day and they just sort of come and go. They never seem to go. They managed to get my attention. And you got to bring your energy up a little bit. But that's that kind of evil that can, it's around, it's in people, you know, it's not necessarily personal to me, it's just, it's in and around people. And, I could tell by somebody's laugh, it's just like, ooh, that's not good. Yeah, she's got a good spirit, you know, wants to do well. It's just, too bad. Kind of lost her wits. It's all about survival. I think the one person's leaving now. You want to believe, right? It took me through like some pretty powerful Hindu cults. Now, you know, I got the opportunity to listen to a Hindu, a white Hindu man, a year or so ago, and you know, he, you know, went through the whole thing, you know, the general philosophy. And I hate to say this, but I could hear the bullshit in him. Like he just, but he had such a great ear for bullshit. You know, I could kind of see how he was thinking. But I'd spent so much time dissecting these philosophies, and I couldn't find any morality in them. In other words, you can't really make a moral world out of these philosophies, assuming that everything is the will of Brahma. You know? And, the only thing left to do in life is to make yourself one and be absorbed by the will of Brahma. It seems like a lot to ask, you know. And I find that with religious people, they always seem to ask a lot of you. A good sign that someone's full of shit is that they seem to ask a lot of you. Well, like yours truly. Peace restored. That person's still out there. And what'll be interesting is sometimes what that kind of person might swing around, he might come back. Sometimes I get people's special attention. But it's getting to where I could almost leave. It's been a tough day. I'd like to maybe change the tone a little bit. Yeah, they're still eating, so that's good. Yeah, there's someone up there taking photos for like an hour. They get obsessed. So the person's been wandering around for a while. They seem to be leaving, but sometimes this one lady, like she went down there, or a guy, I don't know if it's which one, it's hard to tell. And she turned around and started coming towards me. And then I popped out, and then she went around, and she went the other side, and then she disappeared. And there's stairs over there too, so I thought, oh, okay. Then I came out again, and she was coming down the other way towards me. And the even stranger part is that she was pregnant with 2 young children, and she was taking all the most difficult places to get where she was going when there was like completely unobstructed sand. Looks like that person's going, but yeah, what a freaky sound that was. Ugh. Probably because I'm also talking about freaky things, but yeah, okay, change the subject. Yeah, it's pretty freaky, and it's like, it's not really all her, it's just, but she's also clearly picked up so much of it that she would say, is a good thing, but she's just another person captured in religion. Why? Because life sucks. That's why. And you might as well make the best of it. And religion gives people, smart people, nice people like Felicity, a way to make the best of it. And I forgive her for raping me. It's just I can't let her be near me again. That's all. I feel like I got the best out of her in a way. I always thought she was a great person. Just the moment I met her, I thought she was a great person. I thought she thought I was a great person. And there's a lot of a really great person in her. And then there's just the habits that people learn, of thinking and behavior, because they've had to draw lines or not the way that they do. And the way that they draw those lines is so severe in their way that they don't have any flexibility. And it's funny because that's what she would say to me. She'd be like, you got to be more flexible. You got to be more flexible after, all these people are assaulting me. It's like, wow, how flexible do I have to be? Why do I have to be so flexible and no one else has to be more flexible right now? So this is because, the lines are just being drawn around the victims. They're being drawn with the victims. And I've seen it, even recently, when you're being victimized often by sick people or codependent groups, the line is drawn with the victim, The way the police, like if they brutalize someone, they draw a line with the victim, right? Look at them, they got to be more flexible, they lost their temper, that's why we beat them to within an inch of our life. And I will say, I'm going to come out and check because I don't trust that person at all. But I don't trust him at all. I fucking don't trust him. But it's nice and sunny out here. Asking people to be police is too much to ask. That's what I'll say. I think a lot of jobs are too much to ask. Human beings are just being asked to do too much. Even as children, it's just too much. And if I wrote a book, one book that was guaranteed people would read, I think it'd be called Too Much. It'd be called Too Much. I have to come out because that sound that I heard was so evil. This is like, holy shit, that was evil. God. It's like, well, that's good. It seems that nobody's around. Looks like the tide's out enough. So you got a man and a woman out there in the ocean. That's nice. My dad is a lot better man than my mom made of him. And my mom was probably a much better person than my dad made of her. But there's an awful spell that happens between two people when the best of each of them brings out the worst of each of them, or the worst of each of them brings out the worst of each of them. My parents are really good at bringing out the worst in people, at least the people closest to them, and they brought out the worst in each other. It's a strange term, right? You have that way of explaining things. There's certain things in the vernacular you can say, and people go, "Oh, okay, I know what you mean." But you can explain, communist lesbian and homosexuality and mass codependency, and mass deceptions and things like that, and you're like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." Yeah. People can bring out the worst in people. It's almost like they're meant to sometimes. People think the best is being drawn out of them all the time. But what is the best? What is the best? And I'm just someone who thinks about that a lot. Yeah, it's nice. It's like there's like a peace has been restored. That person leaving was a good thing. I'll tell you that right now. Whatever that thing was that was walking out there. Holy fuck. That was a good thing that left. Yeah. I pick up that energy, and sometimes you can over-personalize it, but it's very bad energy. I don't know fully what it is, but it's like you don't want it around. That's stress, and actually it serves as I don't know if you heard that on camera, but 20 minutes ago, it serves as an indication of something. God, I didn't even want to come out here when that thing was walking. I didn't even know if it was a man or a woman. It just seemed to be wondering. You see them, and half an hour later, you see them again. And it wasn't fun the first time, you know what I mean? So you're like, oh shit. The last time I had something roaming around here for a while, and one of these people, I was seeing my Grand Cross, so like he gets to be invisible. And I hope my mom is going to be waiting home today, and she's in a sufficiently good mood. Oh look, somebody's built a circle. That's nice. Yeah, so it's basically all seaweed right now. That's cool. And I made that baby. That's awesome. I love it. I wonder if anyone can even see it. So it's invisible. There used to be a show when I was growing up called That's Incredible. And I wish Felicity a good life. I think if she takes herself back to when she was 10 or 11 years old, and then just takes it from there, she'll be great. Because her life, I think, took what could still be an incredibly useful detour, but into a realm of codependency that is as enthralling and charming as it is dangerous and unproductive, called the spiritual and religious world of this earth. And it doesn't matter whether it's north or south or east or west. I tell you, the only religions outside of my own that I would trust are Aboriginal ones, especially for your local territory. If you want to, you don't have to adopt or appropriate their culture to appreciate that what little you can, the way you would, and you wouldn't assume you knew anything about it any more than you would come into a school of quantum physics and assume you knew anything about physics. But acquaint yourself with something, the taste or the art, the song of the people who have truly lived peacefully on this earth and in your local environment, and it always has something for you. I always think, just the fact that I think about birds as medicine, spirits as medicine, animals having medicine, it all comes from native people. It all comes from the way they lived on the earth. It's not the way white people. I'm not getting it from my ancestors necessarily. I mean, I'm sure if I go far back enough, yes, but as far as this location has adopted me. I just got the symbol of the raven. This location has adopted me. These lands have adopted me. I'm an adopted child. I'm a provisional refugee of Turtle Island from the encroaching continent of shit known as the white man. The glacier of celestial excrement known as the white man. We are such a confused, volatile, angry, organized, disorganized, violent, constructive, heavenly, hellish people. riding the pale horse everywhere we go. Ride the lightning, everyone. Work till you drop. And then work some more. There's always more to do, and we give ourselves something to do. I swear the government just makes chemtrails because they're bored. They're like, oh, come on, we'll make a religion out of it. People will be scared as fuck. Their linger, their trails. How do we do that? It's just magic, right? It's magic. We like to believe in magic, making smoke in the air, even when the sun and the wind in your hair. I'm gonna go back to my sunset is fine. Things are working great. Eagles aplenty. Like I said, I'm just really hoping my mom is in a good mood when I get home, because I still have to ground a certain amount of violence that came through our house yesterday. But the pentagrams helped. I mean, again, like something quiet, something simple, not something very noticeable, but it may have changed the course of my life in the last 24 hours, because then that energy starts going. It takes very little of my anger. I have to talk to her properly, you know? And I'm at the end of my day, right? It's exhausting. I've just gotten out of a hot bath, right? And boom, she always picks when I'm most vulnerable. And it's just like, right? The most sacred, vulnerable hour. And that's where that white energy always attacks. It attacks you when you're vulnerable. It attacks you at home. It leads you to a certain place to sign a treaty, and then it attacks you and slaughters your family. And that's how the white people got control of Turtle Island. And the red people know that. And the white people, they don't care. They never want to hear. If they never fucking hear it, it'll be too soon. Right? And the fact that white people so don't want to hear it makes it all the more true. The fact that they won't even consider it in their so-called history books, in their accounts of the red man, the sheer, cruel, unmanly torture and slaughter which slew this continent under their reign. And all of the technology and all of the white man ways in the world are never, ever going to make it better in your own pea-brained little white mind until you take your sacred journey. Right? Make peace with the earth. Make peace with the earth. Make peace with the earth. Make peace with the earth, because the earth is just waiting to make peace with you. Because it's something we make more than money. And we're not made of money. We're made of the earth. We make peace to make time. We make time to make peace. We make more time to make peace. If I have to invent illnesses for myself to the end of eternity, I will take time off work and make peace on this earth. But yes, I'm very aware of my mom loses her temper and the like. That my home is everything to me, and my mother is everything to me. Remember your primary needs. You know, I cherish my mother. You know, I want to bring out of her the best of her. I want to cherish that part of her. I want to ignore the rest. But not so much that I don't do spells to protect myself. Right? I did my strongest spells of protection yesterday. Oh, there's somebody else out there. God, this is a nice person though. That's a nice, but I can tell by her energy she's not so bad. Oh. The energy's changed around here. It's nice. God, you spend time in nature. And just the coming and going of a couple of white people can change the entire energy. That's amazing. If I was with my children, I would have moved them somewhere else. Orientals do that. Sometimes when they see me coming, they'll move their children. Okay, cool. I guess that's appropriate. You know, because I'm a white man. I'm not like a lot of other white men, but I am still a white man. And I mean it. I mean it in a sad, solemn... I don't have to have shame. I have the trauma of growing up in a white family. It makes you ashamed of something. You know, like, why should you ever be ashamed of being alive? And nor do I imagine that in the prototypical red man, because I don't know any other people right now, wants me to suffer for any reason. They're not like us. You know, to drive a red woman to look at me the way one looked at me last Christmas actually on the day when I was raped by white women, and to look at me like, you know, she wanted me to drop dead, and I could see the grief and anger in her eyes. And it's like, I hope she saw the grief and anger in mine, you know. And maybe she did not afford me the opportunity to have my own problems. I don't know. For whatever has happened in each of our families, I think a lot the atrocities to the Red Woman are still very fresh in her mind. And the thing is, the greater your mind, the fresher those wounds are going to be. Mm-hmm. What is it about this world? You may not think it when you look at a Red Woman. You think, I'm not even painting her in any particular light. Just, you may not think that this world ever needed to be organized to hurt her. But see in her all women. See in her all women. See in her where the Red Woman is raped, or dismissed, or put down. See your own daughters. See your own great-grandmothers. See your wives. See your girlfriends. See the women and the femininity that you love so much and that you hold so sacred to your life. And see the earth. And see the entire planet. And see the entire species. Look up and see the stars. And then see the tears coming down from them. That we allow the Red Woman to be discarded. For she is all women. She is what women used to be. And her wounds are fresh indeed, as you might expect. For the greatest minds feel it most deeply, and it may be a wonder to us, or not, that this world seems to go for the greatest in us. And that should tell you something, that this world has gone for the Red Woman, that this world is clearly wants to take what is best from this earth and away from us. It wants to take our daughters and mothers away from us. It has disrespected our daughters and our mothers, that it has disrespected a single Red Woman. And that we allow that, we have disrespected ourselves. We have disrespected our own mothers and our own grandmothers, and we don't even know it. We don't even know it. Because that, too, is the bitter fruit of such a harm and such a crime and such a sadness, as it should be. As it should be. For all of us. And that is my account on that. And so, yeah, I want my home to be peaceful, and I have to honor my mother in order to do that. And my mother has been harmed, but I also want to see her as someone who has strong. We should see the earth as strong. Do not see the Red Woman as weak. Do not see me as weak. Not that I compare myself with her. In a sense, I have. But the victims of violent crime are not weak. Some of the strongest people around you might appear that they have the greatest of problems. Because this world will give the greatest of problems automatically to the greatest of people. And yet it raises the worst of people and the worst of deceptions into all of the most lofty principalities of the world. And this is what is put forth before you, to say, this is what a good person looks like. This is what a hero looks like. Let's see these. Look at these. Oh, beautiful bushes. Ooh. Oh, that's pungent. Oh my God.
God, thank you for your healing, Mother Earth. The wild rose, what could be a more feminine healing energy? And the bee comes by at time. Nice. The bee comes by. Nice. Yeah, I guess that lady out there is just staring at the eagles. And that's what they do. And maybe she has in her mind an idea of how long she comes there and stares, and I'm probably bothering her right now. I've got to imagine that might be true. Look at all these different kinds of trees. Those are all the roses. Lofty boughs. I don't want to learn something every time my mother goes a bit psychotic. It gives me time, an opportunity to kind of get a crowbar into, weaning her away from the dark side and granting her a kind of clemency. I just treated it today like, oh, you were angry yesterday, let's go. Probably good to get it out of your system, and then moved on to another subject, which is what she wanted me to do. And she wanted me to be able to do that without having to ask me, and she didn't want me to, go on about it. She was done for the time being. But it was enough to get it acknowledged, and also, although I can't get myself acknowledged, so that didn't happen. That's not going to happen. But I could get the situation acknowledged, and I could acknowledge her. So when I find deal with violent people, most people, it's like they like to be acknowledged. Right? The first time in my life anyone ever acknowledged me was a 17-year-old working at a local retail outlet. And Christian, actually. I think I'm going to go for this log down here. I like playing out here. Oh, it's like a letter. That's not just a stick, that's a letter. I've had different animal allies. Come my way today, so I think and that's been nice. The blue heron, the raven, blue heron, raven. The hummingbird, for sure. Various aquatic and slimy things. This, yeah. I'll see you again. That's interesting. This woman has become increasingly interested in me, I fear. Oh, I'm gonna take my jacket. She's taking little eyefuls of me. I've taken my jacket off. She's a little black, and now he's gonna. Women of a certain age tend to. So I'm watching people and it's like. She's pointing someone down there. So I guess they're coming down. Siren. Tell you, when you're by yourself a lot, these people probably innocuous. You're by yourself a lot on the beach sometimes, or at least I get I guess in a sense I become closer to the environment than to how the environment is to people in general. And from my perspective, I become much more a part of the nature than the people, because the people aren't really a part of the nature. They don't operate as though they're really a part of the environment. From my perspective, they seem, if only from sheer fatigue, they're always doing something. So these people are going out there, and it's all about taking photos. So they're all out here to get photos of eagles today, and that's mostly what they're focused on. When she isn't looking at me, so that's good. The tide is way out. Now they're having fun. I guess they're having something to do today. Now that they've moved on, the energy just kind of, when she was hovering around there and taking me in and taking the eagles in and stuff, and it's like, I think a little bit I attract attention, so I might expect that from people sometimes, because, everyone has a different kind of energy. There's an eagle up there, they just noticed. She's pointing. So they're just looking for photos. There's so many photo hunters out here. I use my camera all day long, but I'm not like fucking a shutterbug when it comes to nature. I had an otter one day come, what was that, right by me on one of these logs, and I really tend to err on the side of be quiet, put your head down, let them go, same thing with people. If I see people, I try not to make myself known if I think it's going to disturb them at all. And eventually I just said, hey, because I thought I should, because what if the otter sees me too late, and we have to have an interaction. So most I know about otters is they're pretty friendly, but if you provoke them, it's not a good idea. So a lot of animals, right? People, really friendly, but don't come and sit on my lap, right, and expect me to be completely happy about it. So I just went, hey, and the otter just they're pretty good. He went, oh, saw me, and then moved on to the ground and just kept going. So I felt bad because he was really enjoying walking along that log, his own domain, as it were. And I wish I could have just been invisible in that moment. But at another time, and I've had animals, they come closer to me. So as I was speaking vociferously, the hummingbird came really close, and I've had this experience of birds and creatures just coming a little closer. And now those people have moved off enough, they've forgotten about me. It's good. So at this point, I could probably take a piss. Let me see here. If anything's got my jacket here. I think I'll leave my jacket there or something. And black is way better along the coast than blue. I tell you, you want to be more black than blue on a sunny day, because otherwise people are almost forced to look at you. You're like, why did you wear blue if you don't want people to look at you? Well, I like the color blue. I've been criticized for wearing black too much, so I just put the blue on. It's like, now everyone can see you. Not invisible. See him hide his scrotum. Now he's not invisible. Oh my God, he's going to die. He's not invisible. Now, I'm sure the lesbians are not going to see me evacuate my urinary canal. I shall commence release. Let's go over to these people's story. I think the best sort of poetic irony that ever happens out here, if I'm walking along talking to myself, and it's happened, and I've run into people who are buried in the bushes somewhere. Not very often. It's funny, we recognize each other. Shock, awe. I smell a fart. Somebody farted around here. They say that if it smells like somebody farted, that something bad is going to happen. Cyclone B is being released. It smells like human flatulence. You're like, oh my God, cyclone. It's cyclone, everyone. You're in a movie theater, you've just read something on Wikipedia about flatulence and cyclone B, and you're in a movie theater, and it's like, my God, man, they've finally gone and done it. Those bastards, they've released Cyclone B. Everybody out immediately. They're trying to gas us, but the movie hasn't started yet. Guy there's with his girlfriend, he's like, don't worry, honey, it's just a marketing gimmick. They want to get us to eat more popcorn and sit closer together and reproduce while on semi-lethal quantities of high fructose corn syrup. I read about it on Wikipedia just the other day. He works for the government. Oh, ouch. Ow, 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 ow. My knee did not like that. Oh. My knee is going to be a bitch about that. Well, it's good that I have something to do. So they're just down there taking pictures of you. That's what they're down here doing. You're like, you're telling me they're down here? Okay, so this, I think, is a trail that people take. This is the trail that people come down. So sometimes people come down there. So taking a piss here is a little prohibitive, but I imagine I would hear them coming. I have pretty good piss karma. I have to say sorry to that plant. Oh, I hear something. Somebody could come down and their dog's like sniffing all over the house. It's like, God, yeah, yeah, it's I've learned with my mom that when she gets violent or violently angry, it's never a trivial event. At the same time, you're better off being as nonchalant as you can about it. You know, I have to try to whittle away at it because she has this murderous hatred for our landlord, and she's chosen to just hate his guts. She really takes everything personally, and you can't do that with landlords. You know, and the fact that he's Chinese, and the fact that he's a man, and everything, the fact that he is a bit of a dick, you know, and I say to her, like, yeah, you know, you have a reason to be upset, but at least he's this much of a dick, and he's not this much of a dick, and at least he's predictable, and, you know, he crosses all his I's and all that kind of stuff, and dots all his I's, crosses his T's, but no, she's not to be reasoned with. It took him 2 weeks to deliver a new fridge when it broke down, and it's just, sometimes he's out of the country. It was a long time, but it's a situation where he's just not a man inclined to make quick decisions and to spend money. Like, and you have to understand, my mom is not like that. There are people like that. And no, it's not right, and yes, he should have, as a landlord, you know, been more swift. It took 2 weeks, and she was buying ice and keeping her stuff in a cooler, our stuff in a cooler. And I said, you know, did a great job, and it took a long time, contacted so-and-so, and then that happened, and it was during a pandemic, so everything takes a bit longer. You make exceptions and whatnot. I'm just gonna sit here for a minute. But no, again, she's not to be, you know, he got back to her very quickly when she complained, but it just took him a while to and ah about what to buy, and so on and so on. And then she wasn't happy with the refrigerator that he bought, and it's like whatever, it's an econo thing, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it's a refrigerator, like it's something you put your fucking, your bread or your fucking cheese, and like you can fit everything in here. Like, what do you want it to do? Suck my dick? I mean, it just doesn't matter. And here's where fate stepped in again. Is the fucking homeowner that dropped by when the fridge got delivered, made eyes at her that the fridge wasn't, really very modern, in that sort of way of being fashionable. And he's a man that worked in plumbing and heating, right, kind of thing. It's like, and so my mom, ever sensitive of how things appeared to other people, felt ashamed and immediately began to protest by uttering every kind of remonstrance at the insufficiency of the refrigerator in size, in girth, and everything else, and also the purveyor of said refrigerator, and so on and so on. And it just hasn't ended ever since. And it's like this guy just planted the seeds of shame and hate in her. And these people are they're just not very high-minded. Like, he had no business revealing his qualms about the fashion of the refrigerator to my mom. He should have said, looks like a perfectly serviceable refrigerator. But no. I mean, these are people who will bullshit themselves about anything. It just makes me sick. And there's another lady down the hall, and a lot of my mom's rage is tripped up by these people. She literally has been in rage for weeks, basically because of this man, but she's blaming the landlord, right? And it's like, you're blaming the wrong person, lady, right? She self-suggested that the landlord made her feel ashamed. And the landlord was just doing what he had no idea about her life. He just is a man who just has never learned to spend money quickly. And no, probably didn't appreciate how inconvenient not having a refrigerator was. And so on. And that's, he's a prick for that. But it's human beings. Right? They're selfish. I think I'm going to head home soon. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Didn't really. Yeah, I don't know what else there is to talk about. Maybe I'll sit down for a second, I guess. I don't know. It's just people unnerve me. And then I feel like going because it's like, I have to think about people all the time. Anyway. And the reason I'm so unnerved today is because my mom attacked me last night, so it kind of all comes into a circle, right? And oh my God, you have to start the clock again. Like, how many days since she lost her temper? And she was really quite rude to me. She gets quite humiliating about it. Very codependent. Again, the programming is just, you're just like, oh my God, I spent all of my life dealing with my emotions in what I would consider an appropriate fashion. And of course, the more you do that, the more emotions you have, you might say. But my mom, she'd just get angry and then just like come home at the end of the day when you're relaxing and just blah it all out on somebody. That's what she does. Right? And of course, every time she does this on any level, I ask her the next day, how you feeling? She's like, oh, I'm feeling good. She's feeling better because she unloaded on me and I allowed her to. Right? And she doesn't think anything of it. Right? So I presented to her a kind of purified by the labors of my day, which she considers as nothing. I came home and delivered to her fresh meat. Now we start fresh.
thankfully, I'd done some witchcraft yesterday to protect myself. I didn't know where it was coming from, but I knew something was sniffing up my door. And it's the spirit of the hatred for men. For sure, absolutely. It's incredible. I became quite a considerable object of this from some local lesbians in the last 6 months or so. The year of 2020 has been the year of the lesbian in my life. So there's 3 or more lesbians locally who are basically focusing utter rage that has made me physically ill before I knew where it was coming from. And then I took precautions. Made me physically ill. These are people that barely even know me, right? So you see what women can do to men without even touching them, right? It's we're being kept in check in many respects by violent female police dogs. And I met one lesbian who actually had German Shepherds, which are like police dogs. And even though she has a male partner, she thoroughly likes lapping him up in public, she's basically a lesbian. You can see, like, she's not even remotely physically connected to her emotional being because she has no morals whatsoever and doesn't care about anyone but herself. Right? She wants people to be fiercely loyal to her as she thinks they are to them. But regaled me at the back of a coffee shop, story after story about how she betrayed her children's trust, and we just laugh about it. And of course, their children are always sick and they have seizures and things like that, and then they save them from the seizures by some heroic method of their own device. But the fact is, they're the ones making their children sick. Extraordinary psychopaths. So there's a woman at the end of the hall. She gave both of her twin children, men, brain damage. One of them has been able to recover, and it doesn't matter what happened to them. She's the one who did it, and is actually making money off the other one, fraudulently. And actually invited her mom to try to make money. My mom to make money off of me in a similar fashion, and my mom considered it seriously. And it's like, you see how easily influenced my mother is. Right? Incredibly easily influenced by people, just on that level. Right? So, it's like a policeman, right? They could be an everyday Joe, they put on the uniform, and now they're influenced by what the other policemen tell them. They're influenced by what their sergeant tells them. They're influenced by what the police force or the laws tell them, what the government tells them to do in all their training. And if something's wrong, that's okay. That's not your fault, Mr. Officer. We'll just change the training. But it's never your fault, no matter what you do to anybody. And that's a very difficult circumstance to put anybody and everybody into. And essentially, when we put police officers in that position, whether they volunteer or like it or not, we're putting everyone in that position. We have put everyone in that position. To have people who are, at best, you want the people, people are so liable to be influenced, and everyone knows it so well that they want people to be controlled the way they are, so that only certain people have the influence over masses of people, because they figure on a subconscious level, we'd rather have the people who are specialists at influencing people, otherwise just anybody could influence anybody. And work your way around, and you'll see that a lot of people are easily influenced by all kinds of things. They're constantly being persuaded. The moment you step into a school, the moment you step into a store, the moment you step into the world, the moment your mother took you to the mall and you were still in her belly, you were in a world of persuasion that's focused on the sacred woman, the sacred child, the bonds, the knowledge, the heritage, the qualities of the highest civilization of the world, all of which are born when you were born. And so the highest civilization honored their mothers, their women, their elders, their men, their children. Honoring those things was a part of being a human being. It's part of getting the most out of the environment. It's part of knowledge. Imagine supporting yourself by honoring what supports you. Just honor what supports be supported. You don't have to honor what supports you. You have to work for it. And so, if your work doesn't have to be honorable, it just has to be work. There's not necessarily any honor in it. And some people are honorable in their work, and some people aren't. I'm gonna go home because I know some more people will come by. Quite frankly, I'm just tired. Go somewhere else to work. It's not fun. Not fun for me. It's probably my home, but yeah, I'll go home today. Hopefully I'll be alright. It's a hell of a lot of work, you know. A hell of a lot of work. Man. She just gets herself so worked up. And I subtly sort of suggested today she goes for a walk. You know, just go for a walk, you know. You know you're busy doing stuff like moving your body around. What I'm going to do right about, yeah, I know these white women are going to be by again, so I don't want much to do with them. Another day, perhaps, but not today. And part of that is like I said, just I feel like I'm more environment than people. And today, all day, I just think I'm quite vulnerable. And that one person was around. That laugh was just so fucking evil. And, I know people are letting off stress and stuff, but it's just it touches every nerve in me. Not a good sound. Not a sound you want to hear, basically, at all, ever, anywhere. Not a sound you want to hear. And that's my feeling on that. Oh, it feels so good. Get going. I wonder if anybody knocked my, I had a thing up there to see if anyone was active.
beans away down the beach. Good. And I know what I mean. Like, I have family friends just like them. They're not out and out lesbians, but there are people you meet. Somebody needs to tell me mine that so many people. That's the problem. So many people that I just, throughout my life, I just don't bother, because you really start to spend your life telling people to fuck off, and you would be entirely justified in doing so. And, you know the difference between you and someone else. Other people find life sufficiently distracting or diverting that they don't have too much time to think about how difficult people really are, or how difficult they've become. By the time you're asking age-inappropriate people of the opposite sex to have sex with you, or publicly pandering sexually to people of the opposite sex, you've pretty much lost the plot. Yeah, that's what the world's trying to tell you. I mean, the world isn't telling you that, but a world of people like me are telling you that. Basic honesty is telling you that. And we're not necessarily going to tell you you slipped a disc, because we're not stupid, and you know that's not the type of thing that you're probably going to bother being able to listen to. And you can do that. You can switch off what you do and do not find yourself able to hear. And that's an incredible gift if you're going to be a homosexual. And we commend you to it. But I fear I lose people with that word, homosexual, unless you know exactly how I mean it. Someone who's not sexual and not moral. I've never seen a moral person, ever. And among the immoral people that I've known, most of whom consider themselves moral, I've seen an excess of religion, society, and extraordinary demands upon their physical energy, which is pretty clear when they make physical demands upon your energy, and don't think anything of it. You know, imagine a pack of wolves where the wolves had learned to just bite each other in the ear and draw blood. That's how people are to me. And you're just one of those wolves that go, you know what? I think there was a time we didn't do this, guys. You know? And you just, this is what an animal is like. When generations of it are bred in captivity, they get weird fucking tics, violent tics, premonitions, paranoias, things like that. Right? All the floating, vague conspiracy theories in the world, but at the real heart of them is false identities. It's all about false identities. A book of true ponderology of this world would be called, right, The Craft of Prosecution and False Identities. Right? Someone who's treating you to violence obviously mistakes you for somebody else. Maybe somebody, there is such a person who deserves that violence. Maybe someone like Jesus, who just sort of stands on the cross and says, give it to me. I'll take it all. You know, in S&M people be like, fuck, we worship you. Right? So they're confusing you with someone who needs to feel your violence. Maybe a doctor, maybe teams of people who are equipped to handle the voltage of hatred which you are brandishing with a very habitual determination. That, by the way, you constantly find a very good reason to brandish. You know, because, you know, somebody disrespected you and this, that, or the other. And maybe you just don't want to know what goes on behind closed doors. The things people feel bothered by. And I get to hear those things because a lot of those people, a lot of you people, will come out of the woodwork and tell me exactly what bothers you about me. Right? Of all the things that could bother you in the world, right? Nuclear war, it's just, no, it's you. I don't like the sound of your voice. Well, why don't you go somewhere else? Seeing as there are millions of other videos to listen to. I don't want to. Sobriety. It's a big fucking thing for a lot of people. Sobriety. And, you know, my mom hurt me in the throat chakra and the heart, so I'm just feeling it in my throat. It's just like, so troubling. Such a troubling energy comes out of this woman through the throat. And it's kind of what makes you argue with someone like my mom. Like, you just like, I had to say a few things last night. There's not much you can say to them. And you might think, you know, and I took a video of her once, and she's just like, I don't want to see it. You know? And you just can't get them to confront their rage. They're so obviously enraged, but they refuse to admit it. You know? And keeps herself busy, right? Okay. Oops, I feel like I'm a little undermanned here. Called it early today. It's probably only about 1 or 2 o'clock. Yeah, I'm hoping that my mom is in a good mood. It's very scary. You know, you can't tell a psychotic what it feels like. They don't care, you know. They don't care anything. They just, it's a psychosis, right? They don't just get angry. They just like, they destroy a relationship. What does a psychotic do? Oh, I had a bad night. I destroyed my relationship with someone. And I've just, you know, I've been with psychotics, and they'll just shred their relationship with you. And psychotics I spent time with that serially rape me, they destroy a relationship every day. Right? That's how they keep it going. That's how they keep themselves going. And then they'll honestly wonder in their own mind, because they will sometimes favor you with what's on their mind. I wonder why you don't care about them so much, right? You don't want to dedicate your life to them in some way, or propose marriage or anything. Because, you know, they're so lovable and all. And what they're really busy doing, if you want to find the mistake, is controlling everything in their own minds. They're sort of a bit schizophrenic. They're trying to control everything in their own mind. They try to control the relationship. They make sure they set all their boundaries, but they don't care about yours, right? They want to make sure they get theirs. That's been a very troubling thing for them, obviously, getting theirs, because, they're never going to get theirs. And they don't even know what they're looking for. They don't even know how to talk to a man. They barely recognize a man's existence in any truly masculine sense. And for them, in turn, and among many of them, have a very fixed sense of what a man is, which is actually quite inflexible, and is perhaps as stereotypical a picture of man as you might imagine men having of women. But women get away with it actually more than men do, of fancifying, fictionalizing, right, men. But underneath all of whose fashions and fancies is just the desire to oppress him and to subjugate him, which is, of course, you might think they're fully justified do after eons of feminine subjugation. But it's not really the whole story, because women have in fact long controlled the world. And the world has long been controlled through women, because they are the most ferocious animal on the earth, right? I've seen men taken out of where I live in body bags, right? Men taken away in body bags. I've had family members murdered by women, murdered by lesbians in my family, just sucking the life out of them one day at a time. And it's become almost a cultural meme, right? Oh, she's sucking the life out of me. But that's what they do. They suck the life out of men. They take them for everything they want. They take them slow, they take them quick, but they take them. They need to. It's his fault. They get what they want. They're miserable. They go on with life. They have their money. They've made their point. They're miserable. They go on with life. They find another one. And they have children. And they raise them with the full support and sympathy of the human race, because, of course, they're the long-suffering single mother who castrated every chance of a father their children ever had, and never once has to confront any semblance of impropriety. She has turned from the most ferocious, virtuous warrior to the most demoralized animal the world has ever seen. And demoralizing, because if you demoralize women enough, they become the most demoralizing force in the world. Still loving, still great, still powerful, still keeping the world alive on their bare backs, and deserving every consideration because of it. But under the guise of this consideration, they are permitted to continue harming themselves and others. And that is part of the full story of what happened to women and what's happening to the world. It takes a brave man to tell the story. How many times did I have to be raped or assaulted until I started telling my story? Right? Nice goose feather. Nice. I need a feather right now. I need healing. A healing feather. My throat gets a bit sore sometimes just from talking. Anyway, on some free land here. What are those lesbians up to? I don't think they ever. Got some stream here. I'm gonna go see what's in here. It's kind of a hidden trail nobody will ever take. This is where my mom's anger eventually chased me and dislocated my shoulder last Christmas Day. I took some of the hatred of the red woman again. The red woman has also conveyed her hatred to the human race through me. So I hope you feel appropriately informed. No, I cannot even rely upon the red woman to be my ally, unfortunately. They always, like any other woman, they always want more. Right? It's never enough, right? Poor hungry apes. That's what the world calls you. I don't think you have to act that way, but apparently that's your master plan. The super ape. Like Muhammad Ali, he's like, yeah, white man. The white man. Who's king of the jungle? Oh, it's a white man. in Africa. He's king of the jungle. Wow, fascinating, hey? Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. The white man should shriek back in horror that Tarzan is white. If you want a king of the jungle, why don't you get a white man around these forests, learning to live like the Navajo, the Salish, the Iroquois, you know, different parts of the world, all fully capable of living in these forests. And peace, great medicine, good life. Sit around the log of the great turtle, right? In the lodge of the great bear, maybe sing some of the songs of the mighty whale. The dimensions that are, the dimensions that were, and the dimensions of living and dying and being born that are to come. Sing it all as one. Instead, we work as one, we toil as one, we suffer as one. We take the cruel insults of the world as an isolated mass of goo that isn't afforded the least courtesy, consultation, or voice in any matter of the world, but what could be comprehended by incredibly mesmerizing theater, topped, peopled, constellated, and ruled by nothing more than a family of actors. Hitler and Walt Disney are the exact same person. Eva Braun was his sister, not his wife. Look at the siblings. In fact, you look at Disney's house in archive photos, it's exactly the same as Hitler's, including the German lettering on the windows. It's just the same. Same thing with Churchill and other parts of the Nazi government. It's amazing. All Dallas Goldbug, you know, wellaware1.com. Check it out. Interesting guy. It says he started off in the Air Force, actually. I don't know. Guess I'll keep walking. Yeah, so it's a pretty big insult to the system yesterday. There are people, things that want me to be quiet. And to disturb my home, but I think it'll be all right. La la li la li la dee 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 da da dee da doo dee doo dee hoo ah dee hoo ah dee 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 hoo ah dee hoo ah dee dee hoo ah dee hoo ah dee hoo ah dee hoo It's hard to be a child again when a child never had a good mother and a good father to be with them. Nonetheless, we must find the childlike places where we may dream the dreams of creation. We must find the paths of happiness and peace. And it may tax our minds as many industries tax our minds. And we may find, like we find from many exertions, some suitable advantage in the efforts we take to make the paths of our peace and to sound them forth truly. The goose is the south of the medicine wheel of our childhood. Passed a big flock of them on the way in the water today, like the red heron that appeared to me in spirit. And the joy of the hummingbird came by. The constant strength and the watchful visions of the mighty eagle and of the great chiefs. I recognize these trees, these mighty wolds of earth, where doth spring the golden beauty of my mind. I shall bathe in that beauty. As I bathe in the air, as I bathe in the sunlight, as I bathe in the clouds, and as I bathe in the hope and strength that lives even in darkness, though the darkness may comprehend it not. Only think, what is that first darkness which has in fact comprehended the torch of man in the great belly of the mother, like the whale in the mighty ocean? There's people coming by. You shouldn't really stare at people when they're walking by. It's bad form, but they don't even see this is here. They don't even see the path. They just walk right by. Oh, I guess are they coming to stop me? Are they walking on? They are walking on. Draw strength from all these beings, from my first mother and father. I draw strength and medicine from my family. May the strength of all our good peoples prevail. I'm seeing these boxes of apple pie slices from McDonald's and thinking I'm getting a little hungry. The constant presence of fear today is unmistakable, and I think it's gotten into my throat a little bit. And you can see throughout my work today, like it's like another evil came into my house. I prepared for it, but I want to connect the preparation to the resolution. It does take a certain amount of faith, right? I really have to build my faith in the earth and in these pentagrams to protect me, because like I bring healing from violence. My mom is prone to it. The world is prone to it. And I'm going to take it day by day at this point. It's the best way to put it. Starting today, day by day, you're going to see more videos tomorrow. Like day 2, day 3, and just like you want to make sure you're seeing de-escalation in your home, like peace restored, you know. And I can't, if I had children, if I had a partner, maybe, you know, that would be someone I could reason with, but a parent, unfortunately, like my mom, it's like there's no reasoning to anything. There isn't, you know, to a lot of women, there's just no reason. And men too, they just take what they want, take what they need. It doesn't matter at that point if you're in a codependent relationship. It doesn't matter how much someone does for you and how much they think they do for you. They can take certain things that basically greatly diminish the value of anything else they've given you, right? Because whatever they've given you, it doesn't give them the right to take other things away from you. Right? So my mom basically can make me sick. That's why I'm nervous. Right? And it's like she's made me sick many times in the past, and the energy she brought into the house last night was just fearsome. You just came home and it just starts slow, and it just comes on. It's like, you hear the anger in my voice. Perhaps I'm dealing with day after day after day. Well, my mom just pumps it into one evening, right? And then it's like, boom, I'm done. She actually will look at me and say, "Are you still talking?" She becomes like a character in one of her TV shows. Just what she thinks is a strong person. She has no idea how to interact. She doesn't know how to deal with anger. She doesn't know how to deal with it appropriately at all, and she can't take criticism. It's almost like the way people deal with anger is something they're very proud of. It's like it's part of their religion. It's like what people want to be miserable, and they want to share their misery with others. Or with me, just the case. And I get into a mood like today, and it's like I'm very vulnerable and very open. My heart is open because my mother has attacked me, so I have to take it day by day. And it's like a different dimension, I'm sure. If you saw any of my videos, she would not understand what I'm talking about. Which is why, my family, they set up a very strong immune system of Landon's crazy, which always establishes an item of dominance, usually having to do with my having a diminished stature by some or this necessity, and she'll draw any reason into it. Like, if she does wish to recognize any violence has been done to me, it's like, well, that's obviously diminished my stature in some way. That means I've earned a diminished stature, and that's how she shows her care. My sister's like that, right? It's the insinuation of diminished stature is really, really important to my family when communicating with me. And when someone needs to insinuate a diminished stature to someone, right, that's a very serious problem. That's a family that's had murder in it, very strongly diluted. And the world religion helps people just carry it on. It helps them with it. It becomes like a narcotic, a heroin. Keep busy, keep this. And it's like people will do everything but deal with the one thing they should deal with, right? And all you have to do is say the wrong thing. Right? Get a little too open, touch a few notes therapeutically. It's just like, boom, it's time to eat out your throat. And then my mom pretty much ate out my throat, People call it like ripping up a new asshole. She basically ate my throat, right? And she's extremely murderously enraged about some men, and yet utterly flirtatious with others. And it's like what you see with a lot of lesbianic types like my mom, right? And just like, she's ready to do murder or see a man like vivisected in public in a moment. But other men, it's like they can do no wrong. The alcoholic rapist down the hall, other abusive women, abusive mothers. Oh, every sympathy, every concern, every consideration, and she's perfectly capable of it. And it's not like they don't deserve. And then other people, it's like, sorry, you had testicles? I didn't see those there. You don't have the right to testicles. You have a diminished capacity. Right? Their diminished capacity convicts you of a diminished capacity, which then serves as almost a legal reason to violate you. And all of this could be corrected, of course, if they were capable, actually, of listening to another human being, or reasoning, or being the least bit moral. But unfortunately, they're not. So, as you might expect from someone who behaves that way. So I found a feather while I was out there. Getting closer to shore means people, unfortunately. I think I'll go home for a minute and just rest. Maybe call it a day, I'm not sure. It's been a bit emotional. There's unfortunately a couple of females on the beach. There's some crews. I like that when they go off and they go by. That was way too much perfume. Way too much perfume.
I would scoot past us and probably faster.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, that's fine.
It'll be a bit.
Oh, wait. No.
Well, people looked exactly like very similar skull type to a woman I've seen before. Similar pleasant disposition. She's a raving sex addict. Not this woman, but the woman I used to know. Like a lot of women. Lesbian dominant Gulf Islands. Just everyone's just fucking to fuck. It's like their goal in life. It's only 12:28.